Welcome everyone to another episode of Time for BL. This is the podcast where we review movies, TV shows, novels, and comics, all in the boys love genre. So in this episode, I actually want to talk about a movie that I don't know if a lot of people are even aware exists. Like, it did really well. As far as all the film festivals it was sent to, it had a lot of wins. It had a lot of nominations. It's a really good movie. It's small budget, and the best part, it stars Anthony Mackie. Now, if you're familiar with the Avengers series, then you know who Anthony Mackie is. He is the Falcon, baby. And this is actually the first Anthony Mackie film I actually ever saw. I say actually a lot. Anyway, the name of the movie is Brother to Brother. It is the story of Perry, played by Anthony Mackie, a young gay black painter who happens to meet a homeless man named Bruce. Turns out Bruce was a part of the Harlem Renaissance. So it's like a whole thing with art and music and everything with Harlem, all revolving around Harlem. He and a group that included Langston Hughes, Aaron Douglas, Wallace Thurman, and Zora Neale Hurston, they came together and they created their magazine and put it out, and it was burnt because they said, we don't want none of that gay stuff here. We learned that Bruce was actually like a poet. Bruce was a poet. Don't you know it? Bruce was a poet during the Harlem Renaissance, and Perry is basically surprised. Like, he's looking at Bruce like, you have been published in books. I'm reading your poems, and you're homeless and you're living in a homeless shelter that I work at. Perry's just so surprised by this. He and Bruce get to know each other, and they kind of become these unlikely friends, or maybe likely friends, where Bruce tells Perry a lot about his experience during the 1920s to 30s, I believe. It looked like it was about like the 30s or something. I researched, I promise. But it's basically about his experience, and Perry is kind of gaining some perspective from Bruce's experience on what's going on in his own life, because he himself is dealing with homophobia, and for him it's more like him trying to, like, one of the first scenes we get with him, was it the first scene? Oh gosh. But he is playing like a video that's showing two black civil rights movement. Were they civil rights leaders? But they were like talking about civil rights, and one of them talks about being a gay black man, and his classmates going, nobody wants to hear that, nobody wants to hear it. And it's like about him like trying, for him, like, I'm a part of the black community as well, and I'm not recognized because of my sexuality. It's like that kind of dynamic. And he has a best friend who I love, because his best friend is like, like, they're just talking, and his best friend is like in the middle of a train, and people are like looking like, this guy's gay, and his best friend is just like, I'm gonna find you a guy. I'm gonna find a guy for you. And his best friend is straight. Well, did they actually clearly say he's straight? I just assume he's straight. No, I think they clearly said he's straight. I promised. I watched this movie. Anyway, but yeah, it's like Perry gaining perspective on his own life, and it's just this wonderful story with characters I actually wanted to learn more about. I wanted to learn more about Bruce. I wanted to see what was going on in his life, because we get a lot of flashbacks, and we see everything that was going on while they were working on the magazine. Now, for me, I'm not a huge fan of revisionist history. Yeah, I'm not really a fan of revisionist history, but I really enjoyed this. And one of the main reasons, because at first when it came, I was like, he was hanging out with Zora Neale Hurston. Like, their eyes were watching God, Zora Neale Hurston. I love that book. oh, this guy. But yeah, and Langston Hughes. I had to do a paper on some Langston Hughes poetry in school, so like I was in. But I babble. But yeah, like I really love this movie. I love that the stuff that you can learn from this movie. I think it's very important for a lot of people to watch. It was definitely a low budget film, but worth it. It came out in 2004, so don't expect like don't expect to see something that you would like watch now. Like, you have to, when you're watching it, remember it came out in 2004. I love the way they did the color corrections, where in modern day, especially in the outdoors, it kind of had like a reddish tint in some points. The red tint is kind of like to show the hardship and how hot it is and like stuff like that. Like, people use it in different ways. And then of course we go to the past with Bruce and the rest of the writers, and like it's also like black and white. Oh gosh, I hope I'm not misremembering. She says after watching the movie. But yeah, like it's black and white when we look in the past as well. So what I love about it there is that you get a distinct separation of what happened then and what happened now. And I like that they did that because what we're seeing in the past is from Bruce's perspective. It's him talking about what happened and how he felt and what he was going through. And it's in black and white because we're also seeing it from his perspective. We're hearing his thoughts and stuff like that. And oh gosh, and comparing it to Perry and what he's going through. And then he has this friend at school that they may or may not. There's a will they, won't they between them. I won't spoil that. I will not spoil that. But in the end, I won't spoil that either. I was like, do I want to spoil the ending? No, I do not want to spoil the ending. But like I said, the film debuted in 2004. It won a Vanguard Award. It won, oh gosh, what else did it win? It was nominated for a lot of stuff. I think it won a GLAAD Award as well. Like, it was nominated for a lot of different things. It was pushed through it went through the independent film circuit, and so it did a lot of festivals, and they did a lot of gay festivals like Outfest as well. And they, yeah, like it's really a good story. Like, I have to give it to them. It was a really good story. And what I really also like as well is the use of jazz in the film. Like, we get jazz and poetry and art. Like, those are like the three strong things. And it, like, from the beginning, they make it clear, like, you're going to hear a lot of jazz, you're going to hear a lot of poetry, and you're going to see a lot of art. And that's what we saw. That's what we got. And it's some beautiful artwork. I loved it. I love the comparisons of Perry, what he's facing now with the homophobia he faces, to, well, 2004 today, versus what Bruce was facing in the 30s. Was it the 20s or the 30s? It was one of the two. I will say this movie, if you're looking for like a romance film, like you want like one of those feel-good romance film where you just sit down, you're like, yay! This is not a romance film. Like, there are romantic elements here and there. You will see couples here and there, and there's like situations of will they, won't they throughout. But this isn't a romance film. There's sexual scenes, but it's not a romance film. This is really, I wanted to say coming of age, but he's an adult. He should have been of age. But this is just really about the experiences of this man and him learning more about himself. And like, it's so beautiful. It's a wonderful story. It really is a wonderful story. I highly suggest it. Now, I was looking to see where it's available. I did see that it was available for rental through YouTube and Amazon and all that. But the only part I could see it being available with a subscription is if you have Sling TV. So if you have Sling TV, yay! But I recommend it 100%. I recommend it. This is such a great film. For me, 9 out of 10, solid 9 out of 10, because that storyline and everything, I really enjoyed it. Like, even though I was going, you didn't know Zora Neale Hurston. I said that the entire time, the first time I watched the movie, and I googled to see if a Bruce actually existed who knew Zora Neale Hurston. Like, I was just like, you will not say you met Zora Neale Hurston if you haven't met Zora Neale Hurston. And then I had to remind myself, like, it's a movie. Like, there is no dude named Perry walking around right now leaving art school to go work at a homeless shelter that he also lives at, by the way, which is a whole nother story when we learn about what's going on with his family dynamic. There's so much with this movie. Oh my god, I love it. It's so good. There's so much I don't want to give away because I definitely feel like this is a movie everyone should watch. Like, the story, again, I loved it. I loved the story. I thought it was beautiful. And like I said, it was my first Anthony Mackie film, and this is actually the movie that made me go, who is this Anthony Mackie guy? I need to learn more about him and find out more about his life. And then when I found out Anthony Mackie was going to be Falcon, I was like, oh my gosh, he's being recognized finally, because all the work he's done in his other movies, like, it was amazing. All the small roles he's been given, and now he's a superhero. I was one of those people. I will admit I was 100% one of those people. And what when it goes to the past, like when you see like Langston Hughes and everyone, oh gosh, how do I describe that whole situation? Because Bruce kind of, it's like one of those situations where Bruce is the boy from out of town. I'm trying to, if anyone has seen the movie Stonewall, which, don't get me started, I have a lot of complaints. I will not even, was it the movie or was it, yeah, I think it was a movie. The whole point is, anyway, it's the whole thing with a guy from out of town coming in. It's basically the same premise, except the guy is black, because remember, black, gay people, transgender women of color started the Stonewall riots. Because of them. I will not get into it. Anyway, but Bruce, he's like this guy from out of town. He's the country bumpkin, but he's from out of town. He gets basically like pulled in by these city folks or these, these writers who are like amazing, and he's just like, glossy-eyed staring at them, and gets pulled into their circle and gets to experience all these things. Oh, watch the film. I shouldn't have talked about Stonewall, because I'm just getting angry again. I didn't even need to get angry. Like, why am I getting angry? I didn't even bother watching the movie. Like, basically, I was going to watch the movie because I'm like, it's about Stonewall riots. I need to watch it because you're supposed to watch it. Was it a movie? I don't even remember if it was a movie or a TV show. I just remember it was about Stonewall riots, and I just was reading up on it and wanted to see what it was about, and someone was like, yeah, it's gonna be about this white kid who comes in. I was like, wait, what? Looking more, and I'm like, he didn't even exist. Revisionist history. No. I dropped my mic in anger. Oh, I dropped my mic in anger. So stop talking about that. I need to focus on Brother to Brother. So yeah, like I said, Brother to Brother is 9 out of 10. Definitely watch it. It's a beautiful story. It's a lovely story. Oh, the ending. Don't worry about it. Like, if you've watched movies like this, actually, I will say, if you're familiar with movies like this, when you're watching the movie, you're getting close to the ending, you'll do the same thing as me, where you go, I know how this is gonna end. You're just in there like, I know what's about to happen. And it happens. I'm not going to lie to you. If you're watching it and you're going, wait, is it? Yes. Yeah. But just keep watching, because it's still a beautiful ending. Like, you just have to keep watching. But yeah, 9 out of 10. Check it out. Check out Brother to Brother. Awesome movie. Anthony Mackie's in it. I'm not going to stop shutting up now. I'm going to be quiet. Anthony Mackie's in it. All right, bye. Everyone, thank you so much for tuning in and listening on Spotify and Anchor.fm and wherever else you listen to your podcast. Let me know if there's anywhere else you'd like me to make it available that would be easier for you. Yeah, I'll definitely look into it and get it there. So thank you so much for your time. I love you. This is JD Young signing off, and I hope you have a wonderful morning, evening. Wait. Have a wonderful morning, afternoon, evening, and good night. Bye.